This is how Canada's best get better.
It's good.
Yeah?
Sorry.
Tougher than you expected?
Yeah. That was.
Yeah?
Yeah, tougher. We're just coming off a 3-week break here, so I think this is just the tip of the iceberg going into our road to Rio.
So they're kind of your lab rats.
That's right.
Holly Murray is part of a team of sports scientists at the Canadian Sport Institute, aiming to maximize performance in all kinds of Canadian athletes. On this day, members of the Canadian Rugby Sevens team are pushing themselves to their limits while having their oxygen and blood analyzed.
What does all this info tell you?
It tells us how much oxygen your body's utilizing to produce energy. So the more oxygen your body can consume, the more work you can do, the harder you can play. We can tell when they get to a certain level of their anaerobic threshold, and then once that happens, we just push them to their max to get that maximal value for heart rate and oxygen consumption.
The Canadian Sport Institute is a federally and provincially funded nonprofit. Most developed countries have some sort of equivalent, as sports science has emerged as somewhat of an arms race.
A country's GDP has been correlated to their medal count since the 1960s. And so a certain amount of spend and progressive thinking in sport is probably required just to stay in the game.
Trent Stillingworth leads a team of engineers and master's students dedicated to helping technology improve our athletes. Everything from a cooling vest to an anti-gravity treadmill.
There's a much bigger appreciation that all parts of science can contribute to sporting success. We can really break down the requirements that are there to be a gold medalist.
Is this kind of what we need to get to that next level?
Yeah, I think they've asked a lot of the athletes who have been part of the Sport Institute, and most of them say that it's been very helpful because there's a full complement of physiologists, strength and conditioning, dietitians, biomechanists. There's a whole, complement of people to help them to reach their peak.
The data gathered by Holly and her team is then analyzed by Rugby Canada's training team.
This means we can distribute our training effectively and individual to the players. So instead of giving one type of program for everyone, we can really individualize what we do.
I think in terms of tailoring our training programs, you look at your lactate threshold and your VO2 max, and that kind of tells Lee what we need to work on individually and where he should focus our training. So I think it really helps to kind of work smart side of things.
The tests unveil what the athletes are made of, physiologically speaking. I was curious and
a bit nervous
for the results. First, the warm-up.
Time to see how I stack up against some of the best athletes in the nation.
Blood pedal analyze.
At this point in the test, your lactate level should be below 2. 3.4.
Oh.
Even warming up was a challenge.
It's supposed to take about 2 to 3 minutes to get to the right spot. We're at about 15 minutes.
A little more warm-up, a little more blood.
All right, we're gonna go.
Is that good enough?
Yep.
Yes!
My lactate levels reached the proper low point, and I was ready for the test. It felt like biking while snorkeling, claustrophobic and awkward. I'm not a good mouth breather.
Push, 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 keep it going.
Finally, the end.
I kept drooling everywhere. Like everywhere.
That's part of it.
So these are my numbers?
Yeah.
So how does it compare? Hard to say.
I didn't quite compare to our rugby players, but I endured the pain and didn't pass out.
Tough enough.
At the Canadian Sport Institute in Victoria, I'm Kevin Charach.